All right, fellas. We got our Jets on Monday Night Football.
Go.
And if you're disgusted watching this football game, don't worry. We have them next week on Sunday Night Football. So the Jets getting the primetime games. You
Is
love
it
to
like
see
Jets
it.
Raiders next week?
It is Jets Raiders next week. Yeah.
Ew.
Gonna be fun. But yeah, so me and Danny were talking like, what do we got tonight or whatever. Of course, for those of you guys just filing in here, if you're a new customer over on Underdog Fantasy, higher on Justin Herbert total yards of a half. That is a boosted thing for you right now. And also, I made a little pick'em slip. Somebody on Twitter tailed it. MV shout out. Said he's like, let's get it, big dog, because I'm kind of on a tear lately. So if you guys want to tail this one, Tyler Conklin, 2.5 receptions. Zach Wilson loves nobody more than Tyler Conklin in this world. 0.5 interceptions for Herbert. It's an opportunistic defense. I think, between Whitehead and Gardner and all those guys, they can get their hands on the ball. And then Cameron Dicker, I think this is going to be a lower scoring game. And I think in lower scoring games, it's generally a smart play to take kicker stuff. Which is why I think Dicker, the kicker, nails a couple field goals in this one. And then Zach Wilson, 14.35 fantasy points. I looked back at his game logs. He's eclipsed this number like 4 times. So I don't know why it's this high. I guess the Chargers are bad on defense, and that's what makes this a high line. But
4 times in his career?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
He's had a couple games where he's like rushed a long touchdown or like had a couple multi-passing touchdown games, but like Zach Wilson scoring 14 fantasy points is not something that should happen very often.
No, I agree there. By the way, anytime you can get Dicker the kicker involved, you have to.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you tail that, those 4 picks that I just had, Conklin, Herbert, Dicker, and Zach Wilson, and add in the new customer special of Justin Herbert, that's a 20x of your cash right there. So that's what we're rolling with. We got Benjamin, first one in here. Concerned at all with Waddle? Still a wide receiver 1. He's been relatively in the same range for me all season. I did actually move him slightly down over the last like 2 weeks or so because I've moved other guys consequentially up. So I think he's like my wide receiver 14 rest of the season. So he's like right outside the wide receiver 1 range for me.
Yeah, no, so I was actually working on those throughout the day, and I ended up with him. So I view the 12 to 15 area relatively similar at this point between Waddle, Puka Nacua, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith. I don't know if you have anybody standing out there that you.
I would say Nacua, like assuming Stafford is going to be healthy. That's
what I built in.
Like, I think Nacua is comfortably ahead of that group.
I agree. I built in, for the record, Matthew Stafford potentially being banged up. If we get reports,
I actually have Garrett Wilson ahead of Jalen Waddle as well.
That's fair. So what is he? Probably like 11 for you?
I have him 12. Yeah. So
12?
It's tough because with Garrett Wilson, like obviously he doesn't have the insulation of the of the offense that he plays in, like Jalen Waddle has. But at the same time, like, he's not getting the big plays that we need Jalen Waddle to get. He's getting the targets and he's productive and that kind of thing. But that's what I get out of Garrett Wilson. And Garrett Wilson's actually giving you those big plays, those like, oh, he's actually just that good of a receiver. And if Aaron Rodgers was healthy, he'd be tearing up the league right now. Garrett Wilson reminds you of that like once every 3 games, it feels like, or once every 2 games sometimes. So this game in particular is probably going to be one where he reminds us how good he is and how good he would be playing if Aaron Rodgers was his quarterback right now.
Speaking of wide receiver landscape, I see a fascinating comment here from Steve, and I actually want to address this because I did move him quite a bit up in my rankings. So he says, when do you guys think JJ's honestly coming back?
His practice window was open today, so he's actually eligible coming back this week.
He will be back at least within the next 3 weeks. So right now, knowing that he's going to miss a few weeks, I have him right in that second tier, like in the top 10. But if we get news tomorrow that he's active, he's going to be in the top 5 with ease. And he's
I have him after Cup at 7 right now is where I have him.
I have him at 10. And so you have Adams over below Cup.
I do.
Okay, so but to be fair, like we just discussed, you're more confident with Stafford's thumb.
Yeah, I think Stafford was close enough to playing last week, and the stuff that I looked into, it sounds like I haven't really moved Nacua and Cup rest of the season. I think they'll probably be fine.
So like to recap a little bit, just so people are like, because we're throwing around numbers in order right now on mine, like I updated them today. Tyreek Hill number 1, Stephon Diggs 2, AJ Brown 3, Jamar Chase 4, CeeDee Lamb 5. I'm assuming you're gonna have a monitor there.
I have St. Brown 5, CeeDee Lamb 6.
Yeah. Keenan 7, Devontae 8, Cooper Kupp 9, Justin Jefferson's at 10 right now for me.
Yeah. So the difference for me there is that I have Keenan outside of my top 10.
Wow.
I have Ayuk at 9.
Interesting. Fair. I have a Luke
Yeah.
Ayuk at 11 for the record.
And I have
so he's-
Adams at 10 and Cup at 8 and Jefferson at 7. Actually, I do have Cup below Jefferson. I forgot about Lamb for some reason because I was like, oh, he's 7 behind Cup, but Cup is actually at 8.
Fair enough. Yeah. No, fascinating. By the way, for those of you that are unsure, me and Corey do have a little bet that we made last week between Amon-Ra and CD rest of season. Just so happens they're probably going to both be like 20 plus.
Yeah, they're both really good options. And I will have a rest of season rankings. So tomorrow morning around 11 a.m. or so will be the waiver show, which, I mean, it's not the greatest week of waivers, but still a couple good pickups out there. And then later in the afternoon, I'll drop the rest of season rankings for quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends, tier list, top 15 quarterbacks, top 36 running backs and wide receivers, top 15 tight ends or whatever. And we'll hash out some of the debates in terms of, who's ranked where, and I'll do my best to try and hash those out in my own head.
Yeah, amen. No, that was the funnest thing, especially at the running back position. Like going through that today, I'm like, what the fuck is this landscape? Need for 40 from GW and Keenan Allen full PPR. I'd probably give this a 30, 35, 30 to
I'd
35.
say 20 points from each guy is a pretty high ceiling game.
Tough.
So I would say it's probably about a 25% chance.
Yeah, that's a fair number. In Superflex, I have Allen, Goff, Russ, and Levis. Any of them droppable? 4 quarterbacks feels like a lot. I don't think any of those guys are droppable. The Russ would be the closest one, but
I think Levis would be the closest one.
Oh, right. I'm assuming Dynasty.
Yeah, no, it's not Dynasty. It's
redraft.
It's a redraft league, I think.
Yeah, in redraft, it would be Levis for sure if you're going to drop one of them. However, I would try to gauge the market because it's still a starting quarterback, and maybe Levis plus a receiver for a guy who only has 2 quarterbacks and get you a little upgrade. Whether it's
I think it's possible that the Broncos kind of turn things around a little bit as the season goes along. So I'm actually semi-confident in Russ. I saw a stat on Twitter today that they're like 3rd in yards on their first drive too. Like they start games pretty strong. It's just like their defense has been a problem before, and now they're playing a lot better. So the offense and the defense have kind of balanced out. And I mean, that maybe should have been to expected with a new coaching staff, like pretty much all around. And now with Javonte Williams healthy, running the ball the way that he's done so far, I think it's possible that the Broncos actually maybe string together some wins. And honestly, like it wouldn't shock me at all if they were second in this division. Like the Chargers continue to, troll like they seem to do. Like I actually would not be shocked at all if the Broncos had a better record than them at the end of the year.
Yeah, no, I could see that. I mean, they've played a lot better ball from what they started. Like, it's so funny how like the NFL season at this point kind of feels like segmentations where literally, do you remember the storylines a month ago? Like, how was anybody?
I heard storylines a month ago that Joe Burrow and the Bengals might have a top 10 pick.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard, is any defense going to slow down the Dolphins after the Broncos allowed 70? And now the Broncos defense is playing better, and the Dolphins have kind of tipped their hand a little bit. Like, it is funny, man. It is funny. Even like a month ago, that was right after the Cowboys lost to the 49ers. People were like, is this a team that's even going to make the playoffs? Because they lost to the 49ers. Kamara and Stafford for late first, late second, I'm assuming third. I mean, if you're a contender, I don't mind making that purchase, going up and buying some points. However, if you're a rebuilder, I also think that's a pretty valuable package to get back.
If this is a super flex league, I want more than this. If it's one quarterback, this is fine, but I want more than this. For Kamara, I think should be able to fetch you a first by himself, and then a late second and a late third. Even if that was a late 2 and a late 2 in 2024 and a late 2 in 2025, I still would probably want more than this. I think I would need a mid to late first and a mid second, or a mid to late first and 2 seconds is probably about fair for me.
So if this was that first, and then instead of the third, that was a second, like you'd be for that?
I think it's a little bit more stomachable then. I think that's probably a fair market deal, give or take.
Yeah, that's fair. Who do you guys like for first touchdown? Thinking Brees, chalky, plus 650. Plus 650. I absolutely love that bet.
I always tend to lean running backs on first touchdown type of bets.
It's Eckler or Brees, in my opinion, for the record.
So I wouldn't go with a Jet because the Jets really start out slow so far this year. So if you're going to get frisky with somebody, like somebody in the game in general, and you don't want to just go Eckler, who's probably the betting favorite, I would imagine. I think I like going with like a off the schedule, like Donald Parham or something like that for a Chargers touchdown. I would lean with the Chargers touchdown, and I think Donald Parham is actually the type of guy that I would go after because that's probably like plus 1,800 or something like that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But if you're going for a safer bet, I think I like Keenan Allen better.
All right, Brock, relax. Dude, I just when Jefferson comes back, nobody's touching me. But yeah, no, fair play. You did take down the dub.
Is that your team name?
Yeah, it's hitting the Jettas. Yeah.
I actually can't remember if I have a chance of winning tonight or not. I can't remember if I've lost already or if I actually have a chance.
Bush, can we talk about the fact that Noah Brown outscored Tyreek Hill by 18 points?
Yeah, that's actually wild. Oh yeah, no, I've already lost. I can't win. My team decided to fucking diarrhea the bed. Gabe Davis 0 points. Fucking Bijan doing Bijan things and not in a good way. Yeah, my team did not have a good performance this week.
Hey, real talk though. Personal news. Started out 1-5, last place in my home league. Now I'm 4-5, most points for with Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta coming back this upcoming week. So I'm feeling good.
Oh, I feel good. I'm 5-4 now, and I just won without 3 of my top 4 receivers. Brandon Ayuk and Ridley were on bye, and then London was out. So I just won with these receivers in my lineup. T. Higgins obviously had a good game. Tyler Boyd was whatever, and Elijah Moore was in my lineup, and Devin Singletary was in my second flex, and I still won because Josh Allen decided to do the Lord's work. Josh Jacobs punched in 2 touchdowns. Kincaid had like 18 points or something like that. I left Dalton Schultz on my bench, and I actually debated starting Schultz over Singletary because it's a tight end premium league. And that would have been really nice having the 32 or whatever points that Schultz dropped in my league format.
Yeah, no, for sure. Dude, I had my 3 running backs this week were Charbonnet, Deontay Foreman, and Tony Pollard, and they combined for sub 20 points, and I still scored the most points in the league this week because my receivers and shout out. Okay, I got to do this right now. Obviously, fuck the Saints, but shout out that boy Taysom Hill. I don't know what type of voodoo is going on in New Orleans, but anytime I see that guy on the field, like, he's catching a pass or running the ball or he threw a touchdown in this game. It's like, getting that at the tight end position is pretty freaking nice. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's definitely nice. Okay, Christian says Addison for okay,
Addison.
Like I'm assuming this is a redraft Superflex league, right?
Yes, it has to be.
I mean, this wouldn't be a question in Dynasty, and it wouldn't be a question in a 1 quarterback league. So it has to be a redraft Superflex league, and I'm still taking Addison. Like, I would want a much more needle-moving asset than Josh Dobbs.
What's the quarterback that you would need if you're desperate for a second quarterback to trade Addison?
Like I'm Jared looking at Goff, probably.
I was going to say, it has to be a top 20 guy for sure.
Yeah, like it would have to be like Sam Howell, Brock Purdy, or Jared Goff, probably.
It's like a 1 quarterback league. Hell no.
Hell no, dude. How are
Dobbs
these
shouldn't be
your best options?
rostered.
Can't you stream better options than this?
Dobbs
How is Minshew your best option right now?
Yeah. I mean, for what it's worth, I think Minshew and Dobbs are very comparable rest of the season.
But like they're like quarterback 25 and 28 in my rest of season rankings. Like there's got to be better options on the waiver wire.
Dobbs is top 10. No, he's not top 10.
Yeah, he's definitely not top 10. Like go and pick up Brock Purdy off of waivers. Yes. He's probably there.
Yes. I mean, it's 14-team league, maybe everybody rosters 2 quarterbacks. Even
maybe, but like there should be a better option available. I would imagine.
I'm not convinced.
Like, Will Levis available, like somebody like that. Like I would much prefer to not.
We're not even guaranteed that Josh Dobbs is going to be the starter the rest of the season because for what it's
worth, like Jaron Hall might actually work back into the lineup at some point. Like Josh Dobbs was quietly playing like bottom 3 NFL quarterback play for like the Cardinals for the last month prior to going to the Vikings.
He's top 10 so far this season, but at the same time, like you have to understand implications moving forward that he's not even guaranteed to start.
Yeah,
like we were just talking about, Jaron Hall did start the game, and Jaron Hall went 5 for 6 for 78 yards before he got that concussion.
Yeah, no, it's possible that if Dobbs is performing poorly, like I mean, it's not even a guarantee that Dobbs is the starter going forward. I think he probably would be because they traded for him, but Jaron Hall could get a look by the coaching staff towards the end of the season if Dobbs isn't performing at a high level. Sup, gents? What's going on, Aaron? Noah Brown started the year. I knew he was getting the Robert Woods role. That's why I started. That is crazy that you put him into your lineup. That is psycho shit right there.
Dude, it's our listener redraft league. The waiver wire options like are bad.
It's still absolutely psychotic that he put him in the lineup.
I put fair. Where do we leave off?
Diego says, what would you add to Dotson to acquire Waddle in a 12-team Superflex dynasty? I honestly wouldn't be willing to give up a first on top of Dotson to get to Waddle, to be honest.
A late one with a 2-back. You wouldn't do that?
Maybe. Yeah. Well, late one with a 2-back, I think I would do. But like Dotson in a first is too much for Waddle, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair. I
I
mean,
think I would want to
what's
try and get away with Dotson and 2 seconds, or Dotson a second and a third, or Dotson
or
a second
like,
and a
do you
young
have like
player.
Joe Mixon or someone like that?
Yeah, like
Somebody.
maybe they just laugh in your face and they don't want to do that. But I think with how Waddle has performed so far this year and Dotson's recent performance, I think you actually might be able to get it done for like Dotson a second and a third.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Down 27, I have Brees and Garrett Wilson left. Do
You
I
have a
have a
good
chance
chance
to
to win.
win? Yeah, you definitely have a chance to win. I would honestly say that you're probably like
70%, 75.
65% chance of winning that.
Yeah, I
It's
would
tough
say.
because, Zach Wilson and the Jets offense could really lay an egg like they've, done on numerous occasions. Like you need basically a median performance out of both guys. And if the Jets offense performs poorly, then you won't get that. So I would say it's like a 65, 70% chance you win.
For sure. Sup guys, sucks I'm late. Appreciate you coming in. I appreciate the super chat there, Carlos. Nice OG of the stream.
Yeah. Paul says, okay, did we already
We
answer
already
this?
went through
Okay,
that.
so he said it was a late third, so it was not a second. So yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think that's enough, to be honest. And it is super flex. So I would want, like, in a super flex format, like I actually think you should be able to get an early second rounder for Matthew Stafford. Like, if not, maybe even a little bit more than that. Like he's a guy that's actually providing like decent fantasy value once he's back on the field. And Kamara absolutely should fetch a late first right now. Like, would I pay that for him if I was a contender? No, but I think you should be able to get one.
Yeah, I agree.
Should I trade Lamar for a top wide receiver or running back? I have CJ. Honestly, I would rather trade CJ Stroud is what I would do.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what the market values are. Like if Lamar's still getting you, if we're talking rest of the season, what type of wide receiver do you need back? You need Garrett Wilson if you're trading Lamar, right? You need Garrett Wilson or
Let me
higher.
go to my overall rest of season ranking to see where I have Lamar
Like
ranked. So I have
I wouldn't
Lamar
feel
ranked
comfortable taking.
at 34. Immediately ahead of him are Jalen Waddle and T. Higgins. Immediately behind him are Devontae Smith, Mike Evans, and Calvin Ridley.
I was just about to say that Devontae Smith wouldn't be a guy I would want to do straight up for Lamar.
I think I would need like Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, Chris Olave, Puka Nacua, somebody like that.
Yeah. Brandon Ayuk. Yeah. I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Love you guys. I'm up 9.4 with Brees Hall and Chargers DST left. He has Keenan Allen. What's my chances? 0-4, looking to start 5-4 if I pull the win. Let's go. So he's looking for that 5-game win streak.
So you're up 9.4 with Brees and Chargers D.
Oh, you're fine. Yeah, I think so.
I mean, Brees and Chargers D kind of negatively correlated, but
fair.
I think you should probably be like a 75% chance of winning that. A 10-point cushion is pretty nice. I don't know if it's full PPR. Maybe that would hurt you a little bit, but Brees is probably like a 15-point performance, like median projection wise, and Chargers defense should give you another 5 to 8 points as well.
Yep, agreed there.
So as long as Keenan doesn't go nuclear, you should be good.
Yep.
Brees versus Eckler with an 8-point deficit. How much chance you give me? 15% maybe. Like I think that's an 8 points is pretty significant, and Eckler is a better start than Brees right now. I mean, like better matchup for Brees than it is for Eckler, but I think the receiving workload. Like I saw a lot of people. Every betting bro on planet Earth is taking the over on Austin Eckler's 31.5 receiving yards in this game. I've seen like 30 people mention it today.
Yeah. No, I think that's a smash as well for the record. Because I mean, like just looking at the implications, you know that the the Jets have a very good secondary. Austin Eckler obviously gets his receiving work in his own right, and now you're looking at a game without Josh Palmer. So 31.5 honestly feels like a steal. 31.5 is the number.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a smash.
I know. Like it's also why I took the under on Austin Eckler's rushing yards of 47.5. I'm like, I don't think he's really going to get anything done on the ground. I think it'll probably come through the air.
Yeah, I agree. Cheeky says, did I hear you say a recap? We get Dynasty Manifesto update tomorrow. Love the content. Go flock. Yeah, so I was actually also as well with my Dynasty rankings, working through them today. So I'll share a couple of the big time news, if you will. I'm still working through them, but at quarterback, a guy like CJ Stroud, obviously big riser. He is currently my Dynasty quarterback 7. We were talking about it a little bit on the recap stream earlier today, but this point, dude, he's younger than Trevor Lawrence. He's outperforming Trevor Lawrence, and now they have all the capital in the world to go and get a true number 1. Imagine Brandon Ayuk on the Texans offense. I think he could be a legit top 5 quarterback if that happened.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So the rest of season rankings will come out tomorrow. I've already updated the rest of season rankings for my rest of season stuff in the sheet. So if you guys want to, make some trades and all that kind of stuff, definitely go check that out. Also, our dynasty rankings, as he mentioned here, that'll probably come later in the week when we get through some of the other videos and stuff. But yeah, dynasty rankings update. I think they haven't been updated in about 2.5 weeks, give or take. So we'll definitely have some changes. CJ Stroud will be on the rise. A couple other guys be on the rise as well.
Yep.
So definitely stay tuned for that. And of course, if you guys want access to our rest of season rankings, weekly rankings, and dynasty rankings manifesto, definitely check out Flock. I also wrote an article on there last week about the biggest risers and fallers from the college football season as well, which I don't intend to do a video on. So that is completely exclusive. You know, Malik Neighbors on the way up, you know, all the guys that have been performing at a high level. And we're starting to see a resurgence from the running back class, even though I talked a lot of shit on Travion Henderson in that article. Glad it sparked a fire in him because I'm happy that he's performing.
Dude, it's awesome when you see, like, I think on the wide receiver start sit video it was this week. I literally made a reference. I'm like, Terry McLaurin, I've been shitting on him these last couple of weeks, but now we're starting to see the targets come to the wide receiver position. It almost feels like when a player starts performing to their expectations after disappointing, they're like, yeah, no, I motivated him. He watched this video and he felt.
Oh yeah, it's like when you put your wide receiver 1 in your flex.
Yeah, just set the tone, bro.
Yeah, I have Herbert Hall and Chargers D versus Jets D. Need 29. Yeah, I mean, Herbert can light up the Jets D, so that's a positive correlation for you there. But Hall can impact your Chargers D. I think you're probably good there. 29 from those guys, that's like a 80% chance probably.
I might even put that to a 90, bro. Because I mean, Hall himself, like, let's say baseline expectation, he gives you 10 points. Like, Herbert's going to get 19 points. He can sleepwalk into that. I'm going to knock on wood now because obviously shit can happen. And the Jets usually tend to muddy up games. But, like, I'd be shocked if Herbert didn't cross 20 this week, to be honest.
Think I saw somebody say on Twitter that every Jets game has gone under this year.
Makes sense, man. They want to slow down the game.
Maybe not everyone, but, like, it seems like and maybe this is just my own brain telling me this, but, like, it feels like every game is, like, 13-10.
Well, the only one that I would have thought might have crossed the over was week 2, the Cowboys game. But then I realized
the Eagles game too might have crossed
2014.
the over. I actually think the Eagles and you took the under in that game, and I'm pretty sure it actually went over. Isn't that what happened, or was it the other way around? Because I remember your lock of the week that week was the under in that game, and I think it went over because the Cowboys like dropped a nuke on them.
That's what it was. Yeah, it was 30-10, and I think the over under was at 38.
It was like 38.5 or something like that.
It went over by 1.5. Oh, trust me.
Yeah, I think the Eagles game had some points in it too. I'm pretty sure with the Jets. But like other than that, was it not
2014?
Oh, okay, yeah. So that probably went under as well. So yeah, like their games have just been pretty low scoring in general. So if you're expecting fireworks tonight, I don't really see it coming.
By the way, quick note in terms of bird betting, if you want the like all fade, you just watch me and whatever I pick for my underdog pick of the week. Or you watch Corey for his going nuts, because I swear to God, we cannot hit on either one of those things from us respectively.
Yeah, they've been pretty bad so far. Also, the Leafs are getting an absolute nuke dropped on them by the Tampa Bay Lightning right now. It's like 4-1 in the first period.
Oh, that's pain. It's pain. All right, we're caught up at the bottom here.
Need Brees and Eckler to outscore Keenan by 4.7. How we feeling? I think you got that in the bag. Eckler versus Keenan, like I'd honestly give the edge to Eckler by about 4 or 5 points. So that's a free Brees that you got there. I'd say 85% chance you win that. Drop Waller or hold for playoffs. If your IR is full, I will say, I mean, Connor and Kyron, Connor especially, I think he actually is eligible to come off this week. So it's possible that he comes back. But are the Cardinals on bye, or am I making that up?
I don't know, bro.
I don't think they're not on bye. They play the Falcons this week. So I honestly think Waller is droppable. I don't think you have to hold on to him. Maybe drop him for now, and then, a week or two from now, if nobody's picked him up, then you can pick him up again once Kyron or Connor is back on your roster and hold him on your IR. But like, are we really excited about Waller even when he's back? Like he himself isn't eligible to come back until week 12, week 13. And then he has no Daniel Jones, and he'll probably be ramped up when he comes back. So I really don't feel excited about Darren Waller. I think he's definitely droppable.
Yep. By the way, I just saw this Melk, that's I believe our last update we lowered him as well. So
he's not on Flock right now. I'm up mine are updated in the rest of season ranking sheet. If you go back and search the posts or whatever, you'll see it there. I will update my actual rankings on Flock during the game, so I'll get those updated. But always be sure to sort by our rankings if you want to see ours and see when it was last updated, because Saquon is my RB22 rest of the season. Like he is not anywhere near the top 5 for me.
And for the record, I published them and I'll get them on the sheet as well as the site. Saquon Barkley working through the sheet right now is my RB21 on the rest of the season. So I'm curious, who do you have ahead of him that I don't? Javonte?
Let me take a look.
Probably Javonte, right? That'd be the only one.
You don't have Javonte that high?
I have Javonte at 22 right now.
I'm at 16, bro.
Really? Eh?
Yeah. I have Rashad White ahead of Saquon as well.
So do I.
Yeah, that's right there. Like I have Devon A-Chain at 20, Rashad White at 21, Saquon at 22, Ramondre Stevenson at 23, and then Kyron Williams, who should be back next week, I think, at 24.
Fair. Who do I? Oh, this is dude. Okay, it's sorted by standard. That's why. Okay, let me see now. Yeah, Saquon's 21. The only one. Saquon's 21. Javonte's 19. So who's the one? You had Ramondre ahead of him or no?
No.
Mostert?
Is it Mostert that you have lower? Yeah, I have Mostert at 18 still because I still think you're going to get good performances out of him.
I don't know why it's sorted straight to my standard rest of season.
Yeah, nobody who plays in standard leagues. Come on now. What's up, guys? Is Roschon droppable? Yeah, with Herbert coming off of IR and Foreman getting most of the backfield, yeah, he's droppable. I think he's a fine stash still, but I wouldn't hold your breath. Concern level for in Dynasty for Bijan, 0. Absolutely none. If anything, he's a huge buy low.
Yeah. If you can get him for anything less than 3 1s, you do it.
Yeah. If he's 2 1s, gets you to Bijan, go do it for sure. Yeah. Damn, Cowboys blow.
Okay.
I mean,
I thought it was a pretty good game.
They kind of got screwed.
DK, Tajay, Roschon, or Kelsey Kamara in Dynasty. Keep up the grind. Appreciate that, Caleb. By the way, Caleb, appreciated the video on the outlook of the 2024 class. Also appreciated the love on one JJ McCarthy.
Oh, yeah? Did he put out a video about the 2024 class?
Yeah, I was checking it out. I believe it was Neighbors, McCarthy, Bowers, and Penix in the mid-first, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, those are going to be the other quarterbacks barring, Caleb and Drake, the other 2 quarterbacks.
Dude, if I had to draft a rookie draft right now, I think I would take Malik Neighbors 104.
I would too. I would take Bowers. I would take Bowers.
I would take Neighbors over him because, I mean, like as great as Bowers is, he's still a tight end. So I probably would just use that as the tiebreaker. And I think both guys are going to test outstanding. So I'm not really even going to factor in athleticism because I think Neighbors will run in the 4.4s and jump high and all that shit. And Bowers will probably run in the 4.4s as well.
Neighbors is just the crystal clean prospect that's got the profile, that's got the athleticism, that's got the production, and people are just going to be like,
I honestly think that's an insult to call him a crystal clean projection. I think we need to start talking about Malik Neighbors as if he were a transcendent prospect like Marvin Harrison because his profile is absolute nails right now.
Perfect. That's what I'm saying. He feels like he's all along like that. Remember when Garrett Wilson?
It's like, I was literally just about to say it's like Garrett Wilson's profile. Yeah. Except his high-end production is much higher than Garrett Wilson's. And Garrett Wilson had, competition and stuff, but he also played for Ohio State. And CJ Stroud was his quarterback. Could Garrett Wilson have had like an 1,800-yard, 15-touchdown season? Like, probably. He was talented enough to do it.
For sure. K9 Olave, Kittle for CMC. I have Kincaid. I mean, if you have enough depth here, go get the league winner, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Walker's on his way down a little bit. Olave's like a wide receiver 2 right now, and Kittle's inconsistent. So yeah, give me Christian McCaffrey there.
And real quick,
did we actually answer Caleb's question here?
Oh, right.
DK, Tajay, Roschon, or Kelsey / Kamara in Dynasty tight end premium. Yeah, man, DK is pretty overrated Dynasty asset at this point in time, and he will be moving down my Dynasty rankings.
So quick look on that. I actually, like when I was touching upon my wide receivers, I'm curious to gauge where you're at with DK. So right now, DK Metcalf is like fringe top 24. Where would you have him in Dynasty?
So it's tough because for starters, I would 100% take his own teammate ahead of him in Dynasty.
Yes, I moved JSN up to.
I would take JSN ahead of him.
Nico Collins or DK Metcalf.
The conversation point becomes interesting because I was ready. You heard me last week. I was ready to throw George Pickens all the way the fuck up there in the Dynasty wide receiver rankings. I'm a little bit more concerned now because realistically, George Pickens, DK Metcalf, the same player. Like realistically. They are like the exact same player. So,
well, you want Texas variant. Where do you rank Nico Collins amongst that trio?
I think Nico Collins maybe deserves to be first of that group.
That's how I have her ranked. I have Nico Collins as my wide receiver 18 right now.
Yeah, and like, I mean, you can also make the argument with how Jahan Dotson has progressed the last couple of weeks that he might be sneaking up into that territory.
Tank
I'm
Dell.
not ready to give up on Christian Watson, but he's probably still above DK Metcalf. Like,
I tanked Watson a bit. I need this season's just been such a mess to the point
it
where his
has
market
been, but
value's
it's
fake.
mostly been injury related, and I'm not 100% willing. Like, I think it's fine to move him down a little bit, but I still would say that Watson is at least a wide receiver 2 in Dynasty, a back end wide receiver 2.
I dropped him a decent bit lower.
Like, who do you have Michael Pittman ahead of him?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. I think that's a.
I have him right now.
Jahan Dotson is the question.
Yes.
George Pickens too.
Yes. I have Deontay Johnson.
How would you rank those? How would you rank those three? Is Pickens the highest of that group, or is Dotson higher than him?
So I have it right now: Pickens, Pittman, Dotson, and who was the other one you mentioned?
Watson.
There was another one. Watson. Watson's below all of them.
Yeah, that's fine. My tier 5 Dynasty wide receivers are actually all like relative. Like I feel exactly the same about all of them. So it's JSN and Zay Flowers are the first two because they're the young guys. They've performed pretty decently. Then Nico Collins, Michael Pittman, Jahan Dotson, George Pickens, Christian Watson, DK Metcalf is how that tier closes itself out.
Josh Downs or Christian Watson?
I would take Christian Watson over Josh Downs comfortably.
I have Downs higher.
I don't like that you're becoming the Josh Downs guy because he was like my dude.
To be fair, like I had him inside my top 5 wide receivers too, but
Where do you
it's
put
just
Debo
more
in this group. Also, I have no fucking idea what to do with him.
I have him at 28 right now, but that might even be too high.
He feels like almost kind of DK Metcalf-y, where I'm like, he's older. He hasn't performed since his monster season. Really, he's giving you like wide receiver 3 numbers, and he's like 27 years old, and in dealing with injuries. Like, would you take Josh Downs straight over Deebo Samuel? Like, I think there's a real argument that you could.
Amari Cooper or Deebo Samuel? I think it has to be Amari Cooper at this point.
No, I would take Deebo. So.
Dude, Amari's been freaking nails when Deshaun's been healthy.
DJ Moore or Deebo Samuel?
DJ Moore I ranked a little bit lower, but that's a combo. I'm working through it right now. Deontay Johnson over those two, or those two. Sorry, Debo,
he's definitely
Deontay.
Gonna have to move up my rankings. Deontay Johnson.
Debo, Deontay, or DJ? Rank the 3.
I think Deontay's still third of that group for me. I have DJ Moore, Deebo Samuel, Deontay Johnson.
For reference,
Jerry Jeudy's taking a dirt nap as well.
Yeah, Jerry Jeudy can actually like fuck off.
I honestly think you can make the argument that Christian Kirk might belong over all of those guys.
Adam Thielen or Jerry Jeudy?
Ugh. Disgusting question. Disgusting question. Let me ask you this. Where does Tank Dell rank among that group?
29 at me, or 28 for me right now.
You have him at 28.
Yes.
Do you have him ahead of Josh Downs?
They're like really back to back.
Yeah.
They're both.
You would think Tank Dell right now over Deebo Samuel in Dynasty.
Yes.
It's pretty crazy. I think I'm going to put him one spot behind Deebo. I think I would still take Deebo, but like, yeah, I mean, sometimes it's hard deciphering between these like projection. I mean, it's not really a projection because he's producing, but yeah.
Question: rank these 3: Keenan, Ridley, Cooper.
I have Ridley the highest of this group still.
I have Keenan,
and then I have Keenan and Cooper. I have Ridley a tier above the rest of those guys, and then I have Keenan and Cooper in the same tier.
I have Keenan above Ridley right now.
I can't do that because I think Ridley still has like multiple years of pretty high end projection where like I get it, like Keenan's giving you better production this year, but I think it's like a 2 to 3 year window play with Ridley where you're probably going to get like wide receiver 2 or better numbers for 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, fun discussion, by the way. Fun discussion. And I touched upon the running backs.
You could go back and forth on wide receivers in Dynasty all day because, like, literally everybody has their merits. It's really about all you value. Most of the time, I just come back to, like, who's the best wide receivers because, like, if you do that, you're generally going to have you don't need to have as much variance in your rankings then because if you're just going on who produced or who had a good quarterback or whatever, you're going to be constantly moving your rankings up and down where it's like, Brandon Ayuk's been a top 15 Dynasty receiver for me for like 5 years. It feels like maybe not 5 years, but like 2 years. And he like never moves because I know he's a great receiver, even though his like situation has changed a little bit and that kind of thing. I'm like, I don't need to move him. He's still an elite option.
You know, I feel that. By the way, who are your top 6 Dynasty running backs in order? Because I feel like there's a concrete top 6. I just want to see how you order them.
Bijan Robinson in a tier of his own. Breece Hall, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Devon Achane.
Ooh, I have Achane at 7.
So you have ETN at 6 then?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually, honestly, I'm going to move ETN up because
Fair.
he's
Okay.
produced at a very high level this year, and I need to respect that.
So
I actually would prefer him to Jahmyr Gibbs straight up in Dynasty now that I think about it.
Well, I mean, you're not going to like how I order these guys because I have Bijan, Hall, Gibbs, McCaffrey, JT, ETN.
Yeah, I mean, I have Gibbs at 6, but like
I think that's a tier.
Purpose of tiers is that you would take any, like even the guy at the end of the tier potentially at 2, which is where I have Breece Hall. And I can't make the argument for Gibbs, or I can make the argument, sorry, for Gibbs at 2. I have him at 6 because I prefer.
Yeah, no,
it's tough because it's what you're looking for. Like Christian McCaffrey, 1 year to 2 year window, like he's a superstar. And Taylor and ETN, I believe, are the best contending trade targets if you guys are looking for like contending running backs to trade for in a multiple year competitive window. JT and ETN will give you 2 to 3 years of RB1 production. So that's why I really like those guys. And I think with running backs specifically, you have to think in 2 to 3 year windows maximum. Like, Gibbs and Bijan and Breece Hall like have these projectable ceilings for like 4 or 5 years. But it's a slippery slope when you do that with running backs. You're better off just projecting 2 to 3 years, which is why I think win now running backs matter way more at that position than they do at wide receiver, quarterback, and tight end.
I agree. Not to mention philosophically, they're going to be the insert piece, not the structural piece of your dynasty.
Right. Yeah. And like,
right,
we're always going to drop them in on our competitive rosters. Like, we're not going to fucking go. Like, I traded for ETN on a team coming out of a rebuild earlier this year, and I did the same thing with Kenneth Walker. Like, I'm not drafting. I didn't draft ETN. I didn't draft Walker. I just kind of wait for the young running backs to assert themselves, and then once my team is ready to compete, go trade for them.
The way I kind of view them is, if you're building a house from scratch, let's just say, you and your loved one, whatever, go to buy a new house and you want to make it from scratch. You're getting the framework and you're getting the location and you're understanding all of these factors. And the last thing you're inserting in that house, right around the furniture, is that
interior design.
Exactly. Your interior design, your brand new TV, your stove top, your freaking your fridge, whatever. You're adding those pieces last after you built the structure. Your structure is going to be your quarterbacks, your wide receivers. The tight ends is probably like the furniture because you want furniture before you get your TV. And then your TV, what you're going to be able to enjoy is watching Jahmyr Gibbs bust out a 70-yard run, or watching Breece Hall, absolutely carry the Jets to a win when nobody expected them to, like they did on Buffalo in that opening night game against Buffalo. You know what I mean? Like, it has to be the last piece you insert because, again, we can make a whole video on why that is the case, and we have before, but that's how you have to treat the running back position.
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple rebuilding shells right now, and they're just essentially quarterbacks. Like, I have some teams that are just good quarterback cores and a lot of picks. Like, and I intend to just fill them out with wide receivers and tight ends and stuff. Like, my too lazy to set lineups team is literally just Mahomes, Purdy, Sam Howell, and Mac Jones with like 7 firsts in the next 2 drafts and like a bunch of seconds and thirds.
That's the way to do it. Thoughts on Dotson the rest of the season? He's definitely going to be a riser. His targets in these last couple of games have been very encouraging. And the main reason why, and I kind of touched upon it philosophically with the Washington Commanders, is that the last couple of weeks, they've just been protecting Sam Howell better. And I don't know if it's from a schematic
He's
standpoint.
Also been getting the ball out a lot faster. I think it's more to do with him, honestly, than the offensive line.
It's a little bit of both, and not just the offensive line, but more so the scheme around it. Knowing that he was struggling from a sack department, and knowing that he's much better when kept clean versus when pressure's in his face, they're doing a lot more to making sure he's protected. And we're seeing now, like, they've resorted basically to an offense that just throws the ball 75-80% of the time. Like, when's the last time Howell hasn't dropped back 60 plus times? Like, it feels like every game he's throwing the ball over 40 times.
Every game that the guy's throwing 40 attempts.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. But with Dotson, I think you can say he's a top 40-ish wide receiver right now. But if you keep stringing these performances together, I have no problem putting him in the high-end wide receiver 3, maybe even low-end wide receiver 2 range.
Yeah, I mean, it would be pretty hard for him to get to that range because, like, you'd have to leapfrog a lot of guys to get there. Yeah. But again, I mean, fucking put all of them in the hat. I have Dotson inside my top 40 wide receivers rest of the season, so that's where I have him ranked. And the guys that he's ranked around, let me actually look. Right where I have him ranked around is Tank Dell, his teammate Terry McLaurin, Chris Godwin, Cortland Sutton, Christian Watson. Like, those type of guys are in that range for me.
Yeah, same thing with me. Like, I'm still working through again a couple of those, but right now he's at 44. But honestly, like, the way I'm looking at it, I would take him over Gabe Davis. I'm taking him over Tyler Lockett. I would take him over Cortland Sutton. So he would probably be at about 38 for me. I think the discussion comes. Would you rather have Jahan Dotson or Rashee Rice? Like that's a decision.
I have Rashee Rice at 45 right now, but
okay.
Rashee Rice and I mean, if you're in a winning position right now, you can make the argument Rashee Rice belongs like in the top 35 receivers because he could be a guy that really, pounds it down the stretch. And I can't believe that my highest rostered underdog fan, when I went to look like who's my highest rostered receiver on this team in best ball drafts, it is Rashee Rice. I'm like surprised, but the reason is because I looked on my best ball hub on Fantasy Life. My average ADP was like 15 picks after ADP. I was getting Rashee Rice consistently. Like, I don't know why, but for some reason in all my drafts, like there was one draft that I got him at pick 167. His ADP was 140.
That's nuts. I want to see what's your ownership percentage on Rice?
I'm looking at it right now. It is, let me go drafts. Hold on, it's loading right now.
By the way, what was your advance money again?
What's up?
You said what was your advance like the money beside it again? Because I remember it was extremely high. Yeah, that's dominant.
Yeah,
right now.
I know. My teams are really strong.
I'm at 750 right now, and that's a well above average.
That's
rate.
Above expectation still. So like, and my team, I'm honestly like almost doubling expectation. My teams have been unbelievable so far, and it's mainly due to Breece Hall's my highest rostered player at 27%. Gus Edwards is my second highest rostered player. Josh Downs my third highest rostered player. Brandon Ayuk is my sixth highest rostered. A-Chain my seventh. Like they're all like Kyler, who hasn't played at all, is my eighth highest rostered player.
Hold Addison, by the way, Christian.
Yeah, in a one quarterback league, I need an every week starter for Addison, or at least close to it. Like I would want Burrow, Herbert, somebody like that. And maybe that's unrealistic, but the problem is there's not a guy in between that tier and where CJ Stroud is, really.
Well, that's the thing, because like if I'm looking through my rest of season rankings at quarterback, like after Herbert, I feel like then you get actually I'd probably put Tua right in that group too, just because I trust the offense figuring it out moving forward, because he's my 7 right now. Like after that, the difference between like Purdy, Dak, Stroud, Goff, I tanked Lawrence a little bit until I see him just start flat out playing better. He's at 12. Like they're just not really needle moving enough to move.
It's weird that quarterback is way more shallow than tight end this year. That never happens.
It's nuts.
Also, to answer the question from before, Rashee Rice is on 8.7% of my teams. Technically not my highest rostered Chiefs wide receiver, but he was when I drafted, because Mecole Hardman is my highest rostered Chiefs wide receiver at 9.5%, because in the 18th round, I was thinking he was going to be the deep threat for Aaron Rodgers, and that obviously hasn't come to fruition. So,
yeah, no.
But he is my highest rostered Kansas City Chief is paying off really well for me, because I have 15.7% Isaiah Pacheco, who has been an unbelievable best ball pick this year.
So I only have 5.4% Pacheco. I have 12% Jerick McKinnon. And he just randomly pops. To be fair, he was pretty cheap. He was like around 13, but he just like has random pop moments. Scared to admit, my highest roster Chief receiver right now was one Sky Moore at 9.6. So that
I had him at 6%. Great. So he was my second highest rostered one.
Only 2.4% Rashee Rice, and I have doubled the roster.
Yeah, dude. Like when I was looking at my average ADP discount that I had on players, I think Rashee Rice was first on that list in the best ball hub for me. I think the highest discount on average of ADP that I was getting on any given player was Rashee Rice. It was super weird. He just kept falling in my drafts. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, that's pretty wild.
It was probably just the time that I was drafting around. Like maybe it was the time that Sky was getting all the hype or whatever was going on. But like for whatever reason, he was falling from like the 140s where his ADP was to like the 170s in some of my drafts.
Yeah, it's just hard. Literally, Minshew is my best option at the moment. Didn't draft a backup for Kirk. Yeah, but it just for me, philosophically, yeah, like you're in a tough situation with Minshew right now. But at the same time, like if you trade Jordan Addison, you're just going to have that situation at wide receiver.
Yeah. Like Stroud, like I think the answer,
there's got to be an option
quarterback that answers this question is Tua. If you can get Tua for Addison, that's probably what I'd be willing to do.
That'd be the cutoff.
Tua, Burrow, Herbert, and Lamar. But like you're not going to probably get those guys is the problem.
Like, can you get if you're gonna settle for someone less, can you get Stroud plus at least? Like, can you get Stroud in, I don't know, what upside wide receiver like 40? I doubt that even gets it done because someone might just Sutton, yeah.
Rashee Rice.
Rashee Rice, that's a nice one. Yeah, maybe Jahan Dotson if somebody hasn't caught on yet. I don't.
Yeah, Lockett, JSN,
Yeah.
Downs, Watson, maybe.
I mean, your other receivers are. I mean, he's got Dotson and Tank, but
It's probably not strong enough, dude. I want
no.
Addison on my team.
Yeah, no, absolutely. JJ top 5 with Dobbs rest of the season. I mean, JJ's JJ. He could probably be top 5 with me or Corey at quarterback, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like flat out.
let's keep
Like
keeping it above there for sure.
Yeah. You got where we left off.
Yeah, the game I believe is actually started. I'm gonna just like scan through the questions here and see if there's anything else that we want. What are we at? Where are we at? Thoughts on Zach Wilson and Garrett Wilson need 33? That's a little tight. I think you got maybe a 30% chance of getting that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
I got Kelsey.
That steal of trade because he knew.
Did you cut out or did I?
I think I'm fine. Why?
I just heard like an air bubble. Okay, I'm good now. I just heard like an air bubble in my ear.
Okay. My volume on my game started going. Maybe that's what you were hearing.
Got you.
I traded Olave and Akers last week for Debo. I mean, I wouldn't have done that because I want Olave over Debo comfortably, to be honest.
I pretty much swapped Olave for Debo. I mean, I do notice the 49ers logo, but brother, I'm sorry, you got rinsed here.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible Debo turns it around a little bit with being healthy after the bye, but honestly, dude, like Chris Olave is just way safer projection.
If you're gonna go to a Niners receiver, get Ayuk instead.
Yeah,
like that would have been good.
Possible for Olave, to be honest.
Olave and Akers for Ayuk, probably.
Yeah, if you could have done that, I would have much rather done that, to be honest. Yeah. Trade Nico Collins for Addison and Tank Dell.
Yeah,
probably, but like with JJ
bro.
coming back soon, like I think Addison's going to lose a little bit of value there. I'm fine with that trade though if you need the depth.
Heartbeat. I like Nico Collins, but I mean, I think he's starting to become a sell because the targets simply haven't been there like they were at the beginning of the year. And Tank Dell looks legit, man. Tank Dell does look legit. So
yeah, unfortunately Tank Dell is looking like what we wanted Elijah Moore to look like, and honestly, like if Elijah Moore was playing for the Texans, I honestly think they would know exactly how to use him, and he'd be doing exactly what Tank Dell is doing right now. When do you guys think JJ is honestly coming back? I think he has a chance to come back this week, to be honest. I would say it's probably next week that he's back, though, if I had to guess. Traded Downs in a late first for Chris Olave and a third in Dynasty. Dude, that is a great trade right there. I mean, I think Downs is a good option, but Olave is much more.
Olave's Olave.
Justin Herbert sending a piss missile to Quentin Johnston. He has absolutely no separation like usual. Anyways, the game is on, so we'll just get into that obviously because we are obviously going to watch that instead of answering questions here. But yeah, Quentin Johnston, let's see if he can finally do. I'm literally going to wipe my hands with Quentin Johnston if he doesn't do anything in this game. Honestly, like I'm straight done with him already. I know it's crazy to say in week 9 of his rookie season, but he needs to fucking step up, dude. Josh Palmer's on IR.
Yeah, agreed. But either way, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Obviously, we'll have you guys with the jam-packed week content like always. And just absorbing another week of what's been probably one of the most unpredictable football seasons I've ever seen.
Yep, absolutely. So take it easy, fellas. Good luck if you need a miracle tonight.
Yes, sir. Take care.